Flood prevention, 20 billion spent on water storm project in Sokoto. Motorists lament as students barricade Bongang-Ibadan Express Road. Nigerians reverting to road transportation as airfare rises. And on the foreign scene, Afghanistan blames border clash on Pakistan's bid to build post. Hello and welcome to Trans TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Hello and welcome once again. Sokoto State Government says it has spent over 20 billion naira for a water storm project in Mabera area of the state. In an exclusive interview with Trans TV correspondent Idris Jibril, the State Commissioner for Environment said the project is to prevent flood and environmental degradation, which has been disturbing the area. The report.
Resident in Mabera area of Sokoto metropolis has been threatened by flood and environmental degradation, which the state government say is now a history.
18.59 kilometers storm water management project at the cost of 2.2 billion naira. It's a collaboration between state government and the World Bank in order to address the flood as well as erosion itself, because they come together. Once the flood is addressed, erosion menace will go to the bay.
In collaboration with the World Bank funded project New Map, this 2.8 billion naira water storm project is expected to help prevent erosion, flood, and other environmental challenges around the area.
We were able to actually come to the rescue of a very difficult terrain in the area of Mabera. Terrain here, I'm referring to an area that suffers from perennial floods, urban floods here in Sokoto metropolis. Over 18.5 kilometers of drainage of various sizes was put in place to specifically address the flood issues in Mabera area and the adjoining areas. This is the major work we have implemented under this program.
Meanwhile, the state government says adequate provision has been made to ensure that the environment is kept clean and that residents ensure that indiscriminate refuse dump is avoided.
We try to bring up with some policies and laws that will allow other people to participate. In that respect, we are able to propose the establishment of Sokoto State Environmental Sanitation Policy number 7 of 2015. And that policy allows us to bring up private companies to refuse evacuation, and then also allow other stakeholders to contribute their own quota.
While the Mabera water storm project is designed to address the menace of gully erosion and land degradation, other selected communities will also benefit from the project. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Sokoto.
The Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Abiodun Alabi, has restated his commitment to partner relevant stakeholders to curb all forms of bribery among officers of the command. He made the call at the 41st graduation of the Police Human Rights Officers held at the Police College Ikeja and co-organized by the Lagos State Police Command and Crime Victims Foundation. The report.
The event is a direct response to complaints from the public on alleged violation of their rights by officers and men of the Nigerian police. These complaints have resonated within the authorities of the Nigerian police, which is now making efforts to improve the human rights record of the force. This is why the graduation of the police human rights officers is seen as a bold step towards addressing human rights violations among police officers.
We are all aware that policing is knowledge-based. It's knowledge-based. Any deficiency in the acquisition of knowledge will impact negatively in our, in our efficiency and our productivity. So, knowledge is a power and is a prerequisite for us to enhance our capacity and our efficiency in doing our job. That's the reason why we don't joke with training and retraining.
The Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Abiodun Alabi, reiterated the commitment of the police to actively train officers to enhance their capacity and adhere strictly to the rules of engagement while dealing with members of the public.
Principally to witness the graduation of our officers who are course 41 in human rights training, human rights and election security management training, organized by Crime Victims Foundation and RULAC. And I'm so happy with what I've seen. And like I said in my remark, it's a way to enhance their capacity and efficiency in their work.
On her part, the project coordinator of the Lagos State Police Command and Crime Victims Foundation, Gloria Egbuji, urged civilians to be cognizant of their basic rights.
If you are still paying money for bail in Lagos State today, you are ignorant of your rights. The commissioner who does not tolerate it is here. All you need to do is to give police the right surety they demand. You must give them acceptable surety for them to be able to get the suspect when they need them. Anyone who pays money for bail face prosecution. So if you give, if you accept, it's both ways.
She reminded them that bail is free and urged them to report any officer who tells them otherwise.
The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps in Delta State has arrested 9 persons for illegally dealing in petroleum products, sealed up an illegal dump site in Uvie Council area, and confiscated illegally refined petroleum products. The Corps spokesperson disclosed this and said the civil defense is stepping up the fight against crude oil theft and pipeline vandalism. He said the command has launched a special tactical team, Operation Show No Mercy to Vandals. The team arrested 3 suspects with dual-purpose kerosene and automated gas oil. The team also arrested 2 others who ran an illegal dump site close to Niger Cat in Uvie Council and 2 others at the Warri-Sapele Highway dealing with illegal refined AGO stored in drums.
As into their operations, they discovered, busted, and arrested some suspects dealing illegally on petroleum products. So this is why we are here today, to tell the public that the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps is out not only to arrest but to prosecute and jail everyone who is illegally dealing in the petroleum sector or within the petrol industry. Today, we want to call on every meaningful Nigerians, Deltans to be precise, to avail the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps of every information that could lead to the arrest of these nefarious and barbaric activities of these suspects and hoodlums. It has caused the nation great loss, and it has caused its citizens devastating pains.
And now to politics, where the People's Democratic Party has appointed Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel as the chairman of his Presidential Campaign Council, while Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal was named Director General of the party's National Campaign Management Committee. Both men will be leading a campaign aimed at getting the former ruling party back to power after 8 years and helping former Vice President Atiku Abubakar realize his ambition of becoming President of Nigeria. The appointments were contained in a release signed by the party's National Organizing Secretary, Umar Baturi, on Thursday. Meanwhile, the retired Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Clara Ogumbi, has assumed office as the chairman of the Police Service Commission. Her assumption of duty comes barely 24 hours after former Inspector General of Police Musliu Smith resigned. The ex-PSC chairman was said to have been at loggerheads with the force leadership over the recruitment exercise. Until her appointment, Justice Ogumbi was Commissioner 1 in the commission and next in the hierarchy to the former chairman. Azman Airlines has announced resumption of its flights operations after suspension by the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA. According to reports, the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority suspended air transport license of the local and domestic airline over failure to remit 1.2 billion naira ticket sales from passengers. The NCAA Director General, Captain Musa Nuhu, made this known in a statement issued in Lagos. However, Azman Airlines on its verified Twitter handle said the operation has been restored and all flights will now operate as scheduled from Friday, the 16th of September. And still talking air transport, the astronomical hike in air transport fare in the country has forced passengers to turn to road transportation as an alternative despite the worrying security challenge. Some Lagos passengers disclosed that they have no option than to resort to flying roads as the air ticket is regrettably beyond reach. Trust TV's Abbas Alibi tells us more.
Local airlines in the country have jacked up the cost of domestic flight tickets by almost 100% to 150%, making it too expensive for a low and medium income earners to afford. Muhammad Abubakar Bushari, a frequent air traveler, said Nigerians are seriously disturbed about the hike in the cost of flight tickets.
They complain that they don't have aviation fuel. That is what caused the increase of the price of air ticket. But people, to be frankly, people are seriously disturbed. There are some people, they don't have option whatsoever. They have to, because of the insecurity in the road. There are some, because they don't have the money, they cannot afford to make the payment. They go back to road transportation.
He said government should come up with a safe alternative method of transportation in the country as roads are not safe.
Government should make all those things as a public-private partnership to ease business activities in the country so that other investors may come in. But one of the most challenging issues is the issue of insecurity, that is discouraging the investors to come and invest. And I know that these are just a challenge, temporary challenge.
According to the president, Road Transport Employers Associations of Nigeria, Musa Metakobi, the organization is doing everything possible to control the cost of transport for the benefit of the masses. Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
Now to education, where the registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, Ishaq Oloyede, expressed concern over the way many Nigerians blame the organization for the 912 and 13 illegal admissions processed by tertiary institutions in the country. He said JAMB will not hesitate to prove its innocence and expose the persons behind the nearly 1 million illegal admissions into tertiary institutions between 2017 and 2020. This is as the Director General, National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Muhammad Fada, vowed that he would block further attempts by institutions to present unqualified persons for the National Youth Service Corps scheme. The registrar stated that at the opening ceremony of the 2022 Batch C pre-mobilization workshop of the NYSC in Abuja, with the theme, Stemming Fraudulent Enlistment in the Mobilization Process, Time for Drastic Action to Arrest the Menace. He said JAMB will not hesitate in exposing any institution found wanting. Meanwhile, following the prolonged industrial action by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, students under the aegis of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, barricaded the Bongang-Ibadan Express Road for over 3 hours. The barricade created heavy gridlock on the highway, forcing motorists plying the route to lament the inconveniences caused by the protest. Speaking with journalists, the NANS Vice President, External Affairs, Akinte Afiz, said the blockade is just the beginning unless the federal government and ASU resolve the confused situation and allow students return to the classroom. However, a NANS stakeholder in the state who spoke off camera said the students are trying to make their voices heard by both federal government and ASU. Meanwhile, motorists caught in the gridlock said the situation at the highway was horrible. They said a journey from Ekiti to Lagos, which ordinarily should take 4 hours, turned into a 7-hour journey. They called on parties involved to come to an amicable agreement. Some other NANS leaders at the barricade include Giwa Isa, National Public Relations Officer, Deputy Senate President Kundina Elvis, and some leadership of the Obafemi Awolowo University Students' Union government. You're watching Trust TV News Update. And still to come. Kola trading between North and South. Details of this and more after the break. Please stay with us.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Update. Now let's recap our top stories. Flood prevention, 20 billion spent on water storm project in Sokoto. And motorists lament as students barricade Bongon Ibadan Express Road. And moving on to other news now. The Almajiri system of education has over the years been a topic of debate among stakeholders across the country. At an art and literary event in Kaduna, some experts are of the view that there should be a total repositioning of the Almajiri education system, while others want it integrated into the formal school system to balance the knowledge of Quran with Western education. Bella Musa reports.
The Almajiri system of education is predominantly practiced in the northern Nigeria and has remained a source of concern to many stakeholders in the region. Most of the pupils called Almajiri are young children between the ages of 5 and 17 sent out of their homes by their parents in search of Islamic knowledge. However, studies have shown that rather than acquire the knowledge of the Quran and jurisprudence, most of the pupils who later transform into adults while roaming the street rarely acquire the requisite knowledge worthy enough to make them useful to themselves and the society.
It affects almost every aspect of our life. It affects the social aspects of our life, it affects the political aspects of our life, it affects the economic aspects of our life. So in every sphere that you're seeing, we have over 10-point-something million out of school children. And in that 10-point-something million out of school children, you're talking probably 70-80% are Almajiri. So that really causes a really daunting problem for us in the near future.
Well, I believe that reforming the Almajiri system requires everybody, all stakeholders to come on board. All stakeholders meaning government, religious leaders and traditional institutions and also the parents.
They also want the Almajiri system of education to be integrated into the formal school system.
Government has to take the lead because government is where the buck stops, where is the one in charge of everything, and therefore it will have to take the initiative of making everybody to fall in line, and also it's doing its part, especially in mopping up the children that are now on the streets.
If we can incorporate a little bit of basic literacy and numeracy to them, a bit of digital skills, believe me, there is no limit to what these children can achieve.
The stakeholders said measures put in place at the local and state levels rarely made any difference in addressing the menace as parents keep sending their children to some clerics. To this end, they urged the federal government to ameliorate the plight of the Almajiri, especially in the northern Nigeria. From Kaduna, Bello Musa reporting for Trust TV.
The ancient town of Shagamu in the southern part of Nigeria is a household name regarding the cultivation and production of kola nuts, especially the white variety. Now, this and other species of kola nuts attracted some Hausa kola nut merchants in large numbers from the northern part of the country between 1910 and 1970. Abbas Alibi reports that the business of kola nuts between north and south is one of the oldest trades, which is now taking a new approach.
Today, there is increased demand for kola nut in global market, which is attributed to its use in pharmaceutical industries, leading to its high market value and its unavailability. This demand makes kola nut an important source of income for countries like Ghana and Nigeria. Adamu Munkaila is a resident of Agege in Lagos, whose forefathers were kola nut traders in Lagos since before independence. Said kola nut is one of the commodities that brought north and south together.
Actually, our forefathers came to southwest, particularly Lagos, just because of the kola nut business.
He said, as the kola nut trading changed patterns and other merchandise come into picture, such as sweet and date palms, the northerners in Lagos expanded their businesses by joining other ventures.
Today we have there are various businesses, in and outside Lagos states, which our people do. The business is not declining; it's only changed the way of doing it. You understand? Because if you look at the way they do it before and compare it to the way they do it now, there are slight differences due to the changing of generation.
Hajia Sisi is a famous businesswoman in Agege who sells kola nuts for decades. She lamented hike in price of the commodity, which has forced many out of business. Mrs. Abdulmajid, who was born and been in the kola nut trade for over 30 years, said Ogun State produced the best type of kola nut at Ode area of the state.
Shagam, Ore, Dayaton, and Awuri side.
She said kola nuts are now used for industrial purpose, a part of consuming by individuals, hence the reason of its scarcity and high cost.
Good for Kampala, industrial work, and wedding ceremony.
In the year 2021, Nigeria was ranked 4th in kola nut exportation, while in 2020 it was ranked 1st with the share in production of 67.56%. Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
And now look at the foreign scene, where the Taliban government in Afghanistan has blamed the Pakistani army attempt to build a security post at their border as the reason behind Tuesday's cross-border skirmish, causing multiple deaths on both sides, including at least 3 Pakistani soldiers. The exchange of fire between the two sides happened in Paktia province in the Afghan side and Pakistan's Kurram region. Karimi said some Afghan authorities went to talk to the Pakistani officials allegedly building the border post, but they were fired upon. The statement added that the Afghan government is investigating the matter and that the leadership of both nations were in touch to ensure no repeat of such an incident takes place. Meanwhile, the son of Fijian Prime Minister Frank Bainimarama has been charged with a string of domestic violence offences in Australia. Ratu Maile Bainimarama, who is 36, is facing 17 charges, including stalking, assault and choking. He's also accused of damaging property and distributing an intimate image without consent. And about 286 persons of Lebanese, Egyptian, Syrian, Italian, Palestinian and American descent have officially been conferred Nigerian citizenship rights by President Muhammadu Buhari. 208 of the recipients were given citizenship by naturalization, while 78 others got theirs based on registration. At a brief ceremony at State House Abuja on Thursday, President Buhari admonished them to be good ambassadors of the country while reciprocating the love and acceptance of the Nigerian people. Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola confirmed that the 286 foreigners had gone through diligent checks by agencies of government as stipulated by the Constitution and fulfilled all statutory and administrative requirements. Thursday's conferment is the first ceremony to take place since 2018. Most of the new awardees have been residing in Nigeria for several years, contributing to the growth and development of the country. And a jersey worn by basketball icon Michael Jordan during the opening game of the 1998 NBA Finals has been sold for a record $10.1 million. It is the most a piece of sporting memorabilia worn during play has fetched in history. Auction house Sotheby's said it drew palpable excitement from collectors. It was reminiscent of a sporting season chronicled in Netflix documentary The Last Dance, which saw Jordan winning his sixth and final NBA title. On Thursday, Sotheby's said Jordan's Chicago Bulls jersey attracted a total of 20 bids. Sotheby's head of streetwear and modern collectibles, Bram Watcher, said bidders were eager to own a rarefied piece of history. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. For more news, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.